Hello and welcome to ACC 124, Access for Accounting or Databases for Accounting. This is the first time that we are doing an audio recording or video recording for the orientation. In the past, we have always done mandatory orientations that were on campus, but trying to move forward with completely online classes, we are giving this a try this summer. So please bear with me as this is the first attempt at this type of recording period. And I just gave you a perfect example of what I tend to do. I tend to do voice texting, and so I tend to, at the end of a sentence, say the word period when I really don't need to. So hopefully I don't do that throughout the video. One of the couple things that I want to do at the very beginning is I want to explain to you my expectations of the course. That tends to be one of the biggest problems with this course, is trying to explain how the course works. This is a very homework intensive course, for lack of a better term. The course doesn't necessarily tend to be difficult as much as it tends to be very time consuming. Students don't usually come to me with questions that they tend to struggle with. It usually tends to be more from a time commitment standpoint. So what I really want you to understand is, even though this course is 8 weeks long, it is still 16 weeks worth of work, no matter when I teach this class. So even though this is summer and it's 8 weeks, in the fall I teach this in 8 weeks, and in the spring I teach this in the 8 weeks. So it's always 8 weeks. It's still 16 weeks worth of work. It's just condensed down into 8 weeks format. You have one chapter due a week. You have homework, a hands-on exercise, and a quiz that is due every week. And at the end you have a final project. You do not have a final exam. However, each week the work builds on itself, so if you do get behind, unfortunately, you're creating more work for yourself. It's very important that you stay up to date in this course. Once you fall behind, it is very, very difficult to get back and get caught up again. It's not impossible, it's just very difficult. I have a very high success rate in this course, so if you stay with it, your grades are usually very good. But for those that fall behind, as I mentioned before, it is very difficult to get caught up. So it's important from the get-go that if you're struggling, you contact me. If you have trouble getting homework turned in from the very beginning, you need to work with me or come into the accounting lab, which I will talk about in a few minutes, and you need to get help to get caught up right away. It's important as we go through the syllabus that you understand the expectations and the rules, for lack of a better term, of when assignments are due. But because of how difficult it is to get caught back up, I am a stickler for due dates, and I do that across the board. I expect it from everybody, and I stick by those due dates because of problems that I've had in the past. So I'll reiterate a few of these things as we get going, but let's start off by going through the Blackboard site and then also the syllabus. So let's go ahead and start with the syllabus. Alright, so here's your syllabus. You can see at the top, my name is Robin Barrett. I have been teaching at the Merrimack campus for, this is my 10th year. Prior to teaching, I was in public accounting. I also worked for AT&T and Mallinckrodt. I have both my CPA and my CISA, which is my Certified Information Systems Auditor, and I also have something called a Certified Global Management Accountant. I have a dual degree in accounting and IS, and for those of you that are getting your technology certificate, I think it is fantastic. Prior to teaching, I worked in IT internal audit, and it was a fantastic job from a standpoint that I was able to do and find whatever jobs I wanted because the demand was so high. So if you like computers and you like accounting, it is definitely the way to go. Now, as you will see, looking at the syllabus here, I'm trying to get it to move and it's not listening to me. There we go. As you will see, looking at the syllabus, my office hours, I'm only on campus on Wednesdays, I apologize. However, I can be, you can reach me at any time and we can set up an appointment if needed. So just because I'm only here from 4 to 6 does not mean we can't set something up if needed. I do actually teach a class Wednesday night at 6. It's a financial accounting class, and so that's why I'm in the office prior to then. If I scroll on down, you can see your book, which I had posted, which I'd already posted on the Blackboard site, is Total Access 2013. Now, if you are running 2016, this book does come with Office, Microsoft Access 2013. In addition, all of you, by having your student ID, have access to Office 365. So if you currently do not have Microsoft Office or you do not have Access 2013, your best option is to either use the disk that came with your book or to use Office 365. If, however, you've already have Access 2016, you can use that. I do not want you to uninstall 2016 and put on 2013. That causes a lot of problems. So you can use 2016. You do need to email me and let me know that you are using 2016 so I'm aware of it, because there will be some potential differences. And I need to be aware of those when you're submitting your databases. There will be some differences in the book. Unfortunately, I cannot tell you those up front, as I am actually running 2013, as that's what the college is still running. If you come to campus, you will be running 2013. So if you need to come to campus to work on anything, if you have 2016 at home, you will need to save it as a 2013 file before coming to campus. Now, there are no prerequisites prior to coming and taking this class, with the exception that I am expecting that you do have computer knowledge, as that is not taught in this class. All right, on the next screen we talk about the grading and what we will be covering in class. This is usually what most of you guys are kind of worried about. As I mentioned earlier, there is no final exam. There are 7 chapters, so therefore you have 7 quizzes, 7 hands-on exercises, and 7 homework assignments. The final project is worth 150 points, and if you look at my double asterisks here, you must have a passing grade in order to pass the course. So that does mean that you can have an A or B in the course, and if for some reason you blow off the final project, you will not pass the course. That is the equivalent to your final exam. Now, even though I say that, students that have an A or B in the course do not blow off the final project. So it's usually not an issue, but because it happened one time, I do have to mention it so it doesn't happen again. Now, the incomplete, which is the next thing following down right here, for whatever reason, this tends to happen more in this class than any other class I have, and that is the request for an incomplete. I think it's based just because of students getting behind in their work. So I just kind of want to make sure everyone understands the qualifications or requirements for getting an incomplete. In order to get an incomplete, you must have 80% of the work completed and a 70% in the class. So basically in this class, you need to have everything through Chapter 7 done, started on Chapter 7. So basically it's just 7 and the final project. And you need to be getting a C or better in the class. So an incomplete is not to save you from failing. It's because something happened at the end of the semester or the end of the summer that's not allowing you to complete the work. Whether you got sick, something happened with a family member, or something happened with work and you're not able to complete the class. If this happens, let me know and we will work it out. Now, each week, class assignments and homework are going to be posted in Blackboard. Everything you do is in Blackboard. There's no third-party site like sometimes you have in other courses. So we're going to go through Blackboard in a few minutes. That will go into much more detail on that. Okay, if I scroll on down, if you notice that the next page here, tab 1 and 2, talk about printouts. We're going to go into a lot of detail on how to print to a file. In fact, I'm going to attach a separate video on how to print to a file because it tends to be the biggest struggle that most of you have. This is how you will turn in your assignments. There will be no paper turned in. Everything will be turned in electronically, but I do not accept screenshots. I do not accept you printing it, scanning it and sending it in. In today's electronic age, you will not necessarily be sitting next to your boss. Your boss could be sitting in a different office in St. Louis, or your boss could be sitting in California. When he wants to see something, more than likely he's going to want you to email it to him. So the quickest and easiest way to do it is going to be to print it to a PDF and email it to him. So you need to know how to do this. So that will be what the steps 1 and 2 will be, and we will go over that. All homework and quizzes must be turned in by their due date. Now, I had a lot of problems about 2 years ago with people turning assignments in late. So I used to accept assignments late, and it was a grading nightmare. And then I had people really falling behind and not getting things turned in, and then trying to figure out how many late points and everything was not very easy. So I debated going back and forth on whether or not to accept work at all. So trying to be flexible, I worked with the chair, and we decided to, instead of just not taking work, I would accept homework late, but it is 50% off. Homework and assignments can be turned in, but it's 50% off as soon as you miss the due date. That is, every homework, every assignment that's turned in late is 50% off, no matter what the excuse is. And I do stick by this. Every semester I get a couple emails saying, I'm really sorry, I was sick, I'm really sorry, I got busy at work, can you please accept it this one time? And in order to be fair to the other 24 students in the class, I don't. If you miss one assignment and you turn it in late and get the 10 points out of 20, excuse me, and the 7.5 out of 15, it will not affect your grade. The most important thing is to get it done. If you turn in 2 assignments, yes, it could affect your grade, but chances are if you're getting all the other work done, it won't. Start getting 3, then yes, it's going to affect your grade. But if you have a one-time occurrence, you are going to be fine. So you can shoot me the email, but my answer is going to be no. I will remain consistent for all students. Now, quizzes cannot be turned in late. Quizzes are due on the due date, and they must be submitted on the due date. And the reason behind this is that they are multiple choice, and the answers are available after the due date. So therefore, students that were asked for them to be submitted late, or if they were submitted late, other students would be able to see the answers, and then therefore that would not be fair. So it is very important that you understand that this little phrase right here at the bottom, homework and assignments can be turned in late, it's 50% off immediately. Quizzes are not allowed to be turned in late. Now in this class, obviously all your work's being done outside of class. Academic dishonesty is something that I do take very seriously. I realize that many students will come into the lab and work together. That is fine. But it is very important that you are doing your own work. If at any point it looks like you are copying a database, submitting other individuals' screen prints, then you will receive a 0 on that assignment. Okay? You could also drop an entire letter grade for the course. There are ways within Access, just like Excel and Word, to see who created the database and when it was last modified. So please work with each other, help each other, but don't copy each other's work. The last day to withdraw from this class is July 15th. If you find that you're not able to complete the course and you're getting too far behind, please make sure you withdraw by July 15th. I hate giving Fs for students that just don't complete the work. All right, the accounting lab, if you aren't familiar with the campus, the accounting lab is in BA 218. It's on the second floor of the Business Administration Building, which is directly across from the visitors lot off Big Bend. It is staffed from 9 to 7, Monday through Thursday this summer. There's 2 different individuals that will be working. Jenna is there, I believe, Tuesday and Thursday day and Wednesday evening, and Elena is there the other times. They're both familiar with Access. They are not Access teachers, so they might not be able to help you in the grave details, but they should be able to help you move along. There are also other resources on campus if you need them. The Merrimack Academic Center. There's other computer center or computer labs if you need to use Access. Just for the ability to use Access, they might have better hours than the accounting lab. There aren't a lot of additional needs a lot of times that students need in this class, but if you feel you need them, the Academic Support Center is now located in the library. If there's any assessment needs that you need regarding this class, please let me know. However, there is no timed testing and everything is online, so normally that does not tend to be an issue. All right, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to the bottom of page 5 of the syllabus. This is where I start the assignment, quizzes, and project schedule. As you can see, I list everything out in the syllabus. This is going to be duplicated on Blackboard, which we're going to go to in a second. You can see here that the first week's week 1, we are covering 2 chapters. However, the first one right here, I'm going to highlight it, is Chapter 1, Office Fundamentals. There actually is no homework in Office Fundamentals, so I will leave that up to you on whether you need to cover it or not. That really comes down to what's your familiarity in Office. Are you familiar with it? Do you need more assistance with it? And if you feel like you need a brush up on Office, then I definitely would suggest taking a review at it. Chapter 2 is really the first introduction to Access, and that will be your first homework assignment. So Chapter 2's homework will be due a week from Monday, June 13th. You have one quiz, a hands-on assignment, and homework. And then you'll notice from thereafter, each week you have 1 chapter due. Right, so each week, and then if I scroll down, we got 4, 5, 6, 7, each with 1 quiz, 1 hands-on assignment, and 1 homework assignment all the way to the last week. Now week 7, you will notice that in week 7, on Monday night is due your homework, but then on the 27th, which is only 2 days later, which is the last day of class, your final project is due. Everything must be turned in by that day. If you have any late assignments, any late homework at all of it must be turned in when you turn in your final project, or it will not count. All right, so all late assignments must be turned in at the date of the final project, or they will not count. All right, so that last week, now your final project I will release about a week and a half to 2 weeks left in the semester, so right around the start of Chapter 6, I will release it, and then you will be working on Chapter 6, the final project, and Chapter 7 all at the same time. All right, so let me go back to the Blackboard site, take a look at a few things and show you what it looks like. So here is our announcement page. I will post weekly announcements. I will let you know when grading is done so that you can go out there and take a look and see what your grade was. Each week when I do grading, when I post that announcement, you'll be able to go into the hands-on assignment as well as the homework and view comments. I will tell you how many points you missed. I will tell you where the points were and hopefully allow you to make corrections. One of the things, corrections going forward, not corrections on what you already submitted. One of the things that I always get asked is, can you work ahead? Yes, I'm going to show you in just a minute that the whole semester has already been released with the exception of the final project. You are welcome to work ahead. The only caveat that I have is that I don't grade ahead of schedule. So I do encourage you to go and once I put out the announcement that I graded, go back, look at what I just finished grading, and make sure I don't have any comments that would affect the chapter that is being worked on this week. So for example, if I just graded Chapter 3 and you're already on Chapter 5, go back and look at Chapter 3, check the comments, and make sure you don't need to make any changes to your Chapter 4. If you do, you can always go back in, you can make your changes and resubmit. You can submit your homework and hands-on exercises as many times as you want prior to the due date. One year I had someone that kept working ahead, but every week never submitted their database. And I need your database in order to do your grading. So they constantly kept missing points, and in the end were missing 4 or 5 points out of 20 because they would not submit their database, but they would never go back and look at their comments. And I kept emailing the student as well. If you choose not to use your STLCC email, that is fine, but you need to make sure you forward it to an email account that you are going to check, because if I'm trying to email you and you're not getting it, I don't know any other way to reach you. Okay, so if we go down to the Start Here button, you will see under here, this is your syllabus, and then this is a blank because it's not out here yet, but when you see this live on Sunday or Monday, there will be a syllabus quiz. So under this syllabus quiz then, after you get done watching this video, which will also appear under this tab, you will have a syllabus quiz to take, and you will email that quiz to me. So this is where you'll find both the syllabus, you will find this video, and you will find the syllabus attendance quiz. In order to start grading, or in order for me to grade your first chapter of homework, you need to take the syllabus quiz and email it to me. Until I receive this attendance quiz, you are not technically in this class. This is considered your first assignment. So you must complete this quiz and send it to me, and then I will grade your homework. So everything is under the Start Here button, syllabus, attendance quiz, and then like I said, in this spot right here will be your video that I'm recording right now. Alright, instructor information, this is where you can, my email, my phone number, as well as my office hours. Okay, under PowerPoint, here is every PowerPoint for the entire chapter. There's one for 8 as well. We don't go into 8, but there's a few things you might want to pull from that. I would highly suggest that you take a look at the PowerPoint presentations. They are not narrated. You can go through them at your own pace. I will tell you that if you have no access knowledge, which usually tends to be about 80 to 90% of you, sometimes reading the book is a little tedious and overwhelming without someone explaining it to you, so you might try going through the PowerPoint presentations. Here's the assignments. You can see here they're broken out by week. We have 7 weeks in the class and then the final project. If you go ahead and watch as I click on week 1. Week 1 is divided. Every week is going to look very similar. You have the hands-on, you have the quiz, and you have the homework. You will always have the due date of when they're due. Everything in each chapter is due at the same time. So June 13th, June 13th, June 13th at 11:59. Things will always be due at the end of the day, so it'll always be due at 11:59. Remember what I said about quizzes. Quizzes cannot be submitted late. Once you hit the quiz, you get 2 attempts, so make sure when you go into it, you are ready to take the quiz. The quiz, as I'm getting ready to show you here, is set up very similar to how most of you would expect it. It is 10 questions, and then when you're done, you're going to save and submit it, and you get 2 attempts. It will come back and tell you what you did wrong. All multiple choice, pretty straightforward. It will tell you if you didn't answer like it just did me, and it's going to take me back out of it. Now if I go back into week 1, in order to do the hands-on exercise or in order to do the homework, the first thing you're going to do is click on the black letters. Now you can't see my mouse, but what I'm going to be doing is actually clicking on the black letters. So if you watch real quick, I am clicking on, it's not letting me, let me try highlight. I am actually clicking on those letters right there. And when I click on the words hands-on, it takes you into the actual chapter. Now this is a preview, but this is what it looks like. You can see the due date up here, as well as how many points. And then notice I'm going to change colors so you can see it. This is what you're going to provide me in screen prints, which, like I said, I'm going to show you how to do that in a separate video to keep this one a little bit shorter. You're going to do screenshots of each of those as you walk through your book. So it tells you, go to page, I'm going to erase this so you can see. It tells you to go to page 95 in the book and start with the database below. You're then going to walk through each of the 4 different hands-on exercises and then print the following following 5 steps. When you're done, you're going to go below and you're going to submit the exercise. So first thing you're going to do is open this database. When you open this database that resides right here, the first thing you're going to have to do is save it. So when you open a database, you click it. As you can see down in the bottom corner here, it is opening it to the file. They do tend to take a little bit. Once it opens, and it opens slowly, there we go. This is the start database. You're going to go through the steps starting on page 95. Even though I'm only asking you to print these 5 steps to a file, you still will go through every hands-on exercise step. You are just only going to submit those 5 printouts and your database. Once you have your database, make sure that you save it before you do any work. I'm going to save it. Then when you're done with all the work, you will come here to say browse my computer. When you do that, you hit, it will bring it up. You go and attach your database. Now you want to make sure that if you look closely right here, there's 2 databases. One of them has a little key in the right corner. The second one down, the one above it does not. You are going to want to attach the one without the key. The reason there's a key is because I still have the database open on my home screen. When it's open, you have a locked copy. You want to make sure you don't attach that one. So attach the regular database. You can then see it pop up right here. Then you want to go in and you want to attach your screenshots. And your screenshots are going to be saved as PDF files. You can find a PDF file, like right here, and you would go and find your other PDF files and you would attach them all. And when you're done, you should have 5, and you would just hit submit. Once you hit submit, it shows up in your Blackboard site. If you go into the gradebook, it will show it. Now mine says it's not saved because I'm in educator mode. Yours would say saved. You would do that for both the hands-on exercise and you also do it for the homework, which is exactly the same. If I attach a file, it will always be in the database itself underneath the homework. Sometimes you might start with a blank database. So every week is set up exactly the same. So let's go back. So that's how each of your weeks are set up. If I just click in week 2 real quick, you can see it's set up exactly the same. Everything you need to do your homework is located in Blackboard. You do not need anything outside of Blackboard. Now underneath assignments over on the left, if for any reason you don't have your book, the first 2 chapters, Office Fundamentals and Introduction to Access, are right here. So you can get started. You do not need to wait. If for any reason you don't have your book, it's right there. And then Access 2013. If you don't have Office 365 on your computer and you don't have Access, you can install it using these instructions right here. So that is a class in a nutshell. Like I said, the most important part here is going to be underneath the assignment tabs. I suggest that you approach the week such that you start by either reading or going over the PowerPoint. Then I suggest you do the hands-on exercise, which is right here, the first one. Then do the quiz, and then do the homework. If you take the time and do the hands-on exercise correctly, the homework should not be very difficult. So I am now going to end this orientation, and I will create another video that will be underneath this one that will go through how to print to a file and how to open, access, and save it in case you have not done or had any access classes at all. So once you watch this video, watch the next video, you then will complete the syllabus quiz, and again, that must be emailed to me by Friday the 10th. Please let me know if you have any questions.